Welcome everyone to the Potential Awaits podcast. My name is Sue Wedsworth, your host, coach, and professor that founded WORTHResults to help people maximize their potential and achieve what they want out of life. Today, we're going to talk about being a hitchhiker. So put away all your distractions and focus on today's lesson because this podcast class is now in session. So I thought I would expand on a topic that I started with last podcast about hitchhikers. A listener reached out to me last week talking about how she realized in listening to my podcast that she was a hitchhiker. And unfortunately, she felt that given that analogy, she was set aside or tossed aside or left behind in the dust as someone that she loved, sailed on in their car. And given that type of perspective, I can certainly appreciate how you may have felt betrayed or hurt. Given that listener reaching out, I thought that there might be other people that are feeling a little discouraged about being a hitchhiker, and I wanted to dedicate this lesson to you and that topic. So first of all, I wanted to say to that listener, thanks very much for listening. But I'm going to continue on a more serious note. I want to say this. Within that analogy and within life, it's all about choices. It's about a choice the person in the car made not to stop and let you into the car. In life, that means the person's decided to move on with their life with maybe you not in it as much or even at all. We all have choices. As a hitchhiker, the choice that was made was really not about you. It was about the driver. And you as the hitchhiker are choosing yourself over positively helping others. And when someone else chooses to help themselves over others, you judge them for that? I don't really see that as being fair. We've all had relationships that have moved on. We all had friends that at one point in time, we may have been inseparable, just to see later that we didn't really have much in common or we wanted different things out of life and we grew apart. Even family. At one time, maybe family members were close, but our individual lives can take over and allow us not to see them or catch up with them like we used to. And there's this thing called divorce. People get married all the time and then they grow apart. They have different lives. How is that any different here? It isn't different. When one person doesn't see that for what it is, a choice is just to not spend time with that person because they are just too different from the other person. And why is that so terrible? In my analogy, us as drivers of the cars didn't hit the hitchhiker or kill them with the car. No, we just didn't stop and let them in. We made a decision that you, the hitchhiker, are not good for us, in the short term. Either it's your negativity or your selfishness or just your own goals that are not connected with ours. This isn't bad. It just isn't what helps us be who we want to be. It's all about how we feel when we are around you. And if we don't feel good being around you, then we have to ask the question, why? And it's okay to ask that question and be bold enough to say, no, I just don't want that in my life anymore. And when drivers make the choice to keep driving and not pick up the hitchhiker, does the hitchhiker pitch a fit or throw things at the car? No, they don't take it personally or become vindictive or hateful towards the driver that didn't stop. No, they just move on with their lives and make the best of it with the other cars, hoping that another car will stop. As a hitchhiker, you can choose to continue to be that way or do something else. We all make choices. Some choose every day to eat junk food knowing it's not good for us. We do that, though, because we like it, not because we're forced to. I realize I'm doing some mixed analogies here, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. It's the driver's choice, and we shouldn't condemn them because they made it. And it's your choice to see it as an opportunity to change or just continue on the same path. Again, most hitchhikers never seem to feel they do anything wrong. Being a hitchhiker is a choice. Someone that chooses not to take a bus or use their own transportation or work out with someone else to be a passenger in a car on a road trip, it's their choice to hitchhike. If you don't like hitchhiking or like being treated by others as a hitchhiker, then don't be one. Choose to change. Any relationship is a two-way street. See how I keep that driving and road map analogy still in there? It takes work from both parties. For those that feel you are disposed of or ignored or treated poorly, I'd like you to ask yourself this question. What was the health of the relationship before the car didn't stop? Before the driver of the car made the decision not to see you and just keep driving? I bet it wasn't very healthy. I bet it was pretty toxic or not very enjoyable. I bet it was strained. So, what are you really losing here? It sounds like there may not have been much there in the first place. Thus, again, as a hitchhiker, why are you so upset that the car didn't stop? Why are you so surprised that a person who maybe you used to be close with has decided not to be involved with you anymore? This happens every day. I think perhaps many people just didn't expect it would happen to themselves. My husband and I used to have a couple we hung around with all the time. Our boys played together. We went on vacations together. We were very close. And then just one day, we weren't. Yes, there was an event that happened which may have caused a strain, but honestly, I think it was more just about life getting in the way. I reached out to her during the end of the pandemic because, I thought about them and I really missed them. And I thought it would be so nice to get together again. And we connected, we made arrangements to get together for lunch, and again, it was like old times. People have to decide who they have in their life and who they don't. And if you don't want to be a hitchhiker anymore, then don't. But it takes time and energy to change. You need to want to change, and for some reason, and for some people, that's a hard ask. But it is your choice. It is your decision. I have a friend who has a friend who really wants to have the relationship they used to have. But my friend's husband doesn't like that friend, so it makes it difficult. They got together at a function not too long ago without the husband in attendance, and the friend asked my friend, why can't they have that relationship they used to? My friend basically said, you have too much drama, and you do things that are annoying and inappropriate, and I just don't like that anymore. Again, is that so wrong? It's the truth, and so the friend has a choice. She can continue to be like that and have the relationship under the new circumstances, if you will, or change and not be like that. It is her choice. But again, for some, that is a hard ask. We have an event next month, which I'm invited to, so I will curiously watch the two of them and see if anything changes on that front. So, you've made the choice not to be a hitchhiker. What are you going to be now? Well, you're the navigator. Or for some, even a backseat driver, if you like that. But you will want to be in the car, sharing the life of the driver. So that's why I picked the navigator, the co-pilot, if you will. Why? Because you're looking past what you want first and being there for the driver. You are there for them because they need you to help them. And that is okay. I also want to say this. It doesn't mean now that you are the navigator. You can't be the driver, and the driver can't be your navigator. Remember, hitchhikers don't have cars. But as a navigator, you can take turns driving, and when it's your turn to drive, you will be looked after by your navigator. They will put you first. They will be there for you because you were there for them when they needed you. That is what a true support system is. That's what a true relationship really is. It's about being there for the other person first, being unselfish and loyal, about being flexible and collaborative, not rigid, not selfish, not your way. So, you've made that decision. Good for you. First step, reach out to the driver. Get to know them again. Find out what they're doing. Ask about getting together, but be patient with this part of the process. But make the first move. Second, if that works, be interested in what's going on with them first. Be positive, be supportive, be energetic. Now, if that's difficult for you to do, then you may need some help with that, or maybe you're not really ready to change. But don't be why. Don't be me. Just be positive and supportive. Enjoy the first step. Don't be cynical or critical. Just enjoy the moment. And life's a series of moments. Enjoy it. Third, as it's moving forward and the relationship appears to be moving in a positive direction, then check the other person's pulse on that two-way street. I'm not saying this is all going to be driving downhill. Yep, by keeping that metaphor going. And there may be bumps along the way, but keep it positive. You know what? Maybe even apologize for something that happened and that you want to make a fresh start. Everyone deserves a second chance. Here is a chance for you to change for the better and enjoy the relationship again. Now, some of you may be thinking, why do I always have to reach out? Why do I always have to be the planner? Why are they not interested in me? Why do I have to do everything? Here's the thing. Some people are just terrible planners. I have 2 friends. I love them dearly. I've grown up with them since we were children. But honestly, if I did suggest getting together, we would never get together. When we were all together, we all say we need to do it more often, and we all have a great time. And then we get back to our lives, and what happens? Life happens. So, a long time ago, I realized, you know what? They're just not that way. I do that for us, and that is fine. It doesn't mean that I'm not important to them or you're not important to them. It just means that they're not extroverted or they're not a planner or they're not an organizer or whatever. That's okay. You need to understand that. In the end, this will either work or it won't. You will want it to work or you won't. They will want it to work or they won't. But it is a choice. As mentioned earlier, life is about making choices. They made one, and now you can too. The question is, will you? That's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. I know there's a lot of choices out there, and so happy you spent your time with me today. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a lesson. If you want to talk about your own story or have a specific question or comment to be answered next time, head over to WORTHResults.com and connect with me. I would love to hear from you. See you next time.